Warning: the following program contains explicit content, outrageous opinions, and untrained professionals. It is intended only for mature audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to your uncensored home for World of Warcraft with your hosts, Berzerker and Navox. This is Unshackled Fury.
Spring has sprung, the crusade has returned, but the wait for our next adventure goes on. Welcome to episode 87 of the Unshackled Fury podcast, your uncensored home for World of Warcraft news and opinions. I'm your host, Berzerker, and with me, as always, is the post oak to my beef rib. He is Navox. Welcome back again, sir.
I don't even get that. I don't get that. Like,
You have to use post oak when you smoke a beef rib for the best flavor. You're like the
Oh.
seasoning, you're the smoke seasoning
I gotcha.
required
Okay.
to get this whole jam rolling.
man, I gotta get on the bandwagon and get a smoker.
Yes, you do.
I really should just. So I got like so many excuses banked up for why I don't have a smoker right now. One of them is I don't have a truck to move it. So step one, get a truck. Step two, get the smoker,
Step one,
or
get
something like
Just
that.
get it delivered. Get it delivered.
No, I know, but when I want to move out of here, I'm
Oh.
gonna need to do something to take that smoker with me.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I got plenty of buddies with a truck. I don't know.
I'll drive all the way to Florida, and I'll move it for you. So 3,000-mile trip just to move it. 10
Just
or
so I
20
get
miles.
started with the smoker.
Well, welcome back once again. We took a little bit of extra time to get to this episode. Apologies to everyone. Real life is kicking some ass right now, so we're kind of trying to fit some of these in while we can, doing our best here. So hopefully we'll continue to have a regular rollout as usual with our every other week schedule. These episodes may start getting a little tighter in time than you're used to. I think we're probably going to be doing what I said we were going to do like 2 years ago and start to shorten them up a bit. So you'll see this episode most likely. We'll see what happens when I edit. And future episodes sticking to around the hour mark. So so you folks should be able to see that on your whatever device you're playing this on now, whether I actually hit that hour or not. But so here we are, and Nav, this is still, I think, the most controversial moment
right.
of the entire show. But how have you been since the last time we were here, and what have you been up to in the last couple of weeks here?
Yeah, I've been up to a lot. Like, I thought I wasn't going to be up to a lot, and I'm like, you know what? We killed Denathrius on Heroic. We're working on Mythic. We're doing this, that, and the other. I could just, I could dial it down some and not do a whole hell of a lot in game. And then I thought, no, there's more legendaries to be had. And, so
Yeah.
I went out and bought a new legendary item. I bought the helm that apply. See, because I am loving. Believe it or not, I really am loving arms. I switched over because I couldn't get the two-handers early on. I'm making arms work. I like it. I feel like Conan the Barbarian. It's great. So I end up getting this helm that when you hit Mortal Strike, it actually applies Colossus Smash at the same time.
Okay.
So now I'm cleaving. I'm doing. I mean, arms warriors are just cleave machines. I just love it. Whenever there's a cleave fight, it's great, and it also helps me with my single target. I don't have to switch so many talents out, and I'm getting used to that play style. That right after I got that, one of our main tanks took an evening off, and I was asked to fill in. And that's kind of like the dynamic on our raid team. We have a couple warriors that can fill in and tank, and a couple people that can fill in and tank. But
Yeah.
you know, I get asked to co-tank, and I don't mind doing it. I just didn't have the gear for it. So now I'm working on another legendary. So it's, you know, that I'm working on doing Torghast to get all this stuff. I've got my followers hitting every single Soul Ash quest that comes up, or whatever, you know, whatever it is that we're using to make the legendaries. But every time a table quest comes up. Other than that, I was trying to look at other viable tanks, because I want to start playing my alts, and I ended up bringing my DK through the Maw. I got my Druid through the Maw.
Look at
I haven't got my Monk through, but I've been leveling up my Druid. I've been leveling up my DK, and I'm having a lot of fun doing that.
Nice.
So besides the rating and constant, I welcome. We're in a slow time. There's no doubt about it. We're in a slow time.
Yeah.
I know we just had the launch. It seems, in the back of my mind, it's still relatively new, but we've been in this now for a couple months. So
Yeah.
I actually do enjoy the slow time a little bit, because it allows us to play with those alts and, you know, do some, I call it downtime stuff. The fun part of what, you know, like you have your, WoW's supposed to be fun in general, but
Yeah.
you got your rating tune that you're constantly doing everything on. You're trying to get your rating tune up, and it feels like work and chores. And then you've got your casual, you know, stuff that you want to play. Your paladins, your alts. I'm not singling out, you know, hey, these are all casual classes. I'm just saying, you know, that's my casual class. I go to my paladin. I go to my druid. I go to my DK. Things like that. Other than that, I actually went down the rabbit hole of the auction house. I downloaded.
My God.
This was because I watched a Hazel video on using TSM, because I've become a WoW hoarder. Like, I have so much shit in the bank.
What is TSM?
TSM is Trade Skill Master,
Gotcha.
and it's got a lot of automated features that allows you, or it gives you more time by you're not sitting in front of the auction house for long periods of time, because what it does is you download the app from their website, and the app installs on your workstation. It's perfectly safe. And then the app on WoW is also installed.
Okay.
And what happens is you've got this application on your desktop that is going out and getting getting market trends. It's downloading a database of what everything's selling for. Then you go into game, and I've always strayed away from using it, because it was very overwhelming to me when I first got it about 2 years ago, and I'm like, oh, this is too complicated. I don't want to do it. Hazel made a video. There's a want to buy gold video. There's lots of different videos out there that help you understand how to set up your TSM. I went very basic with my setup, and you know, it's nice because the things are selling. Like, I'm used to going out there and just being like, oh, I see something selling for 100 gold. I'm going to go out there and sell it for 99 gold, 99 silver, 99 copper.
Yeah.
Take that. Fucking undercut.
Yeah.
Nope.
Undercut for life.
To do it.
Yeah, I see these people that complain about people who do that. I'm like, fuck you. That's how I roll. I undercut every time, and you can eat shit. I don't care.
So,
Slick.
So this application, it's really nice, because it takes everything in your bag. You can set it into different categories. You could say that this category is going to sell at this price. You could actually set different price points for what you want to sell and what you're not willing to sell for. And you set up a hotkey. You put your the little mouse finger over the list thing, and you just scroll up on the scroll wheel, and it just posts all your stuff. And it's a pretty nice application at the end of the day.
Okay.
And it's something to do in the downtime when we're at right now. And it's just I'm finding I don't really play the auction house all that much, but I am finding this interesting, because, you know, you are starting to see, I've been doing it now for the past 2 weeks, and I'm starting to see trends on what sells, what doesn't sell, and what I can DE, and why I've been holding on to this stuff for so long, and this, that, and the other. But other than that, I'm trying to think. I just started. I joined the Oasis Discord channel, which is a community-friendly PvP Discord channel, which puts together events for rated battlegrounds, PvP, things like that. So if you want to get into that, check out the Oasis Guild. Or I'm sorry, it's the Oasis Community on Twitter, and they also have a Discord channel. And other than that, that's pretty much what I've been up to in WoW. How about you? What have you been up to?
Nice. That was very full. And I appreciate the auction house mini game explanation, because I hear these terms get thrown around. I'm like, fuck, I don't know. Every once in a while, I think I've got something that's worth something, and I'll ask my people on my raid team, I'm like, how much is this going for right now? They're like, oh, like 15,000. I'm like, all right, I'll sell this, because I'm pretty sure they have all that crap.
Well, the thing is, you could actually go old school with the way with what you're doing and posting stuff. You could actually go old school. You could just download the TSM application and configure it to show you what things are selling for, and you can absolutely take that information and just go to the auction house and go, all right, I see everybody's listing it for this, and I'm just gonna fucking undercut it, and here you go, boom. And I can see that I'm not losing any money because this is what it's selling for in the market. So.
Yeah, I think I have something that tells me how much my WoW time token, game time token thing. And we'll talk about the fucking boondoggle shit going on with the game time deal in a minute. But as for me, it's all been rating, somewhat limited rating, just given some of the things that are going on. And we're still banging away. We're at that time where our team, there are times when we're like spinning in the mud to some degree, but we're making slow progress. I mean, we're running and gunning, but it takes some time, and we have to either get enough gear in other ways to sort of latently overpower what we're doing. Or we just have to figure out the right strat. And so we're going through that. We've also had a little bit of trouble because our poor raid leader has been dealing with some real life scheduling as well. So, when we don't have our raid leader in place, it's tough to then do an actual raid. And credit to the rest of the people on our team for getting us at least through the heroic Kael'thas fight. So they did get that kill this week. I can't remember if that's the second time we've done that, but we've at least gotten kind of to that late game, or like 2/3 of the way through, right? And so I actually wanted to take a moment here to sort of have some space in praise of my raid leader and then raid leaders in general, because for a game, right? This is a game. This is some shit we do in our off time because it's fun, right? We've got extra time in our lives when we're not working, we're not running to the store, we're not taking care of kids, we're not taking care of other family, we're not taking care of business somewhere else. Like, we have some time free, and this is what we choose to do with our time. And then you have people who go that extra step and decide, well, I'm going to be kind of in charge of a raid team and other people and what we do and how we do it and keep them in line. And, through voice, really, there's other ways to do it, but for the most part, voice only and some typing, I'm going to tell 20-something other people how to do this really complicated thing and then keep them in line while we do it, right? And then try to maintain some semblance of composure. Like, it's a hard volunteer job. I've done it. I think I did it, a little successfully. We had our moments, but I had a very hard time because when you're dealing with that, it's really important that like kind of the rest of your house is in order because it's already stressful. And for me, I was going through a lot of shit at the same time. I was also a raid leader, and things would bleed over, right? Things would bleed over, and I would be upset to a degree that I should not have been upset in a game at other people for not doing what I told them to do. It just, it gets out of hand. With our team, the Salad Senate Guild that we are now, and the raid team that we have been all these years, 7, 8 years, however long we've been together, we've kept it all together this length of time because of the people that we've had there. And Barian, is the name of our raid leader now. He was a warrior, and then for whatever reason he switched to a priest, and I'm never going to agree with this choice. And I'm gonna say that, but I'm also going to say he is the best raid leader I've ever had. And that is really the highest praise that I can give to him, because he deserves it. And I don't know that he hears it, and I hope that on this platform I can say that, is that I've been playing this game since the Burning Crusade, right? Karazhan was my first raid when that was still topical, let's say. And I had a really good raid leader back then. That was the best raid leader I'd ever had. He was a paladin. He was always in the mix, knew what to do, kept us cool. He was super good. And that was only about a 3-month stint. And then after that, I searched for years. Many raid teams, many guilds, rise and fall of so many I've forgotten. Until we finally found the Salad Senate team, which was on Convert to Raid at the time. And we had one raid leader back then, and then I took over for a couple of years, and then I was just burned out, and I needed to make a change. And Barian was relatively new to the team at the time, but I saw something in him that I thought he could take that spot, and he has done a marvelous job in these years since. And I think that he shows the kind of dedication that, if you're lucky, you find in a raid leader. And finding a good raid leader is very hard. It's very stressful. You know how it is when you're in those nights when you're 2 hours, 3 hours in on a night, and you're just wiping and banging away, and people are getting frustrated, and people aren't doing the shit that they're supposed to do. And, raid leaders are the folks that are out there trying to keep people composed and keep people together in those times. And it is a really, really, really hard job to volunteer for, because I'm sure some people are getting paid for this, but I don't know anybody that's getting paid for this. So if you haven't, go out there and hug your raid leader today. Give him a little love, because it is a very hard job. And to Barian, you don't listen to the show timely, I know that. So a month from now, when you hear this, thank you for all that you do for our team, man. And I really appreciate it. And I hope you stick around for a very long time, because I can't step back into that role. And God knows there's nobody else on the team that wants to do it either right now, because it's crazy. So thank you. And thank you to all the raid leaders out there for your sacrifice and keeping us on the straight and narrow when it comes to our raid. Moving on, for our raid segment this week, Nav, we have, I think, a communal rage situation we got to talk about. So why don't we go ahead and jump into that? Let's rage. Nav, let's talk about game time.
All right.
Game time. Can't get into the game without game time. Right? You could do your little trial, but after that trial ends, you got to start ponying up to continue your adventures on in Azeroth. And for all of the time, right, that you and I have been around and playing this game, there have been a couple of different types of ways that you could get your game time, right? There have been subscriptions. There's always been subscriptions, right? The 1 month variety, 3 month variety, 6 month variety, right? You could decide how long you want to have this subscription. There's also been like physical cards, right? You could get physical cards that had a certain amount of time, 30 days, 90 days, 180 days, 60 days. Well, you used to anyway. And that is the big change that has occurred recently, is that Blizzard announced that they have removed the 30, 90, and 180-day options for game time, that the only purchasable standalone time that you can get is a 60-day, I'll say, card, essentially. But the subs remain, the 6 month, 3 month, 1 month subs with varying discounts depending on how far you decide to go. Those subscriptions are still in place. But Nav, when they announced this, it was like a bomb going off on Twitter and the forums, and people going crazy. I certainly saw a lot of conversation from people I knew. A little backtracking, perhaps, from a couple of folks out there that were from the Blizzard side trying to help still the waters. And I don't think it went too well because they're trying to be like, no, there's a misunderstanding. Like, this is still going on. People are like, no, you took away my time. You're going crazy. So, taking a look at this, what are your initial impressions? Is this just a shameless corporate decision, or is there like a legit player benefit to these changes that have been made?
I gotta tell you, like right off the bat, and I feel bad for saying this, but I'm coming at this angle from one of the people that's not affected by this because I pay for 6 months subs.
Yeah.
So I know people are like, oh, look, you get to pay for 6 months up. But I understand where some of the anger comes from when people are just I know some of the Twitch streamers were complaining that, hey, I would give 30-month subs out to people, as gifts
30-day.
or I'm sorry, yeah, 30-day subs for gifts and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And they can no longer do that.
Yeah.
I understand that. And I also understand the mindset of, there are people out there who want to enjoy playing WoW, but also want, they're living paycheck to paycheck. So that going to the store and buying that game time and throwing it on there just because that month you're able to do that, I can understand that mindset. So I'm not going to sit here and go, oh, it's a simple solution. Just go out there and get a sub for it because, because like we had discussed before, it's when you go out there and you put your credit card in, you have to actually go out there and cancel it. Then you have to put a reason in why you want to cancel it. And there's a lot of stuff. It's like, it's like, are you sure, hey, you can join this gym, and you can cancel at any time when you join this gym. And then, then they try to keep you active with it. But
yeah,
I do understand the outrage with it. I think Blizzard just wants to move everybody over to a sub model, instead of the monthly.
Which is crazy considering that they're like the only ones left that have a sub.
Yeah. No, and it really is. It is interesting that they are. I mean, I do feel though that when has our subscription gone up in price though? Like I just
the
feel
same
like
all these years.
I was gonna say I feel like we've been paying the same price all these years.
$15 a month since time of Memorial.
And I'm not sitting here waving a Blizzard flag going everything they put out is good. It's not a bad decision. But I mean a lot of that goes towards server infrastructure, things like that. I mean and it hasn't gone up, and the game's gotten larger, and I mean they've added Classic too, so yeah, I'm trying to think of besides wanting to move everybody over to a regular old Warcraft subscription, why take that away, especially when people want to still gift things out. Like actually thinking about it, we've had back in I can remember back in MOP where you'd have somebody on your raid team or somebody and they're like, listen guys, I would love to keep raiding with you, but I can't I can't afford my sub this month. And
yes,
we would jump in and go, dude, you can still play. We're going to cover you this month.
Yeah.
We got you,
yeah.
And we can't do that now because, you'd have to set up an active subscription or now it's put your credit card on file. We'll transfer some PayPal money over and you can keep playing if you need to. It's like, but yeah, I
it's a tough battle. And I think it depends on what side of the cynical fence you're on when you look at something like this, right? Because on the, I guess, non-cynical side, it's they took a look at, okay, they have all of these various options and they know how often are they utilized, right? How often are they utilized? What is the cost to them business-wise or infrastructure-wise or whatever to maintain all of these various options? What is actually beneficial? And you take a look at it and you go, well, people aren't really doing this very much, or the percentage is very small and it's just not worth it to maintain XYZ benefit. So they decide, okay, most of the time we have people on subs. This is what we're going to do. We're going to start moving people over there because it's just more convenient. And, you know, in terms of what you're talking about, if somebody is running up on the end of their time, they don't have to worry about when their sub ends. It'll just kick over. And so you're not constantly having to either come up with that next 30-day chunk, or you're trying to farm a whole bunch of gold in game to try to get that next sub for the next month to kick over. And there's people that are going to do that in game anyway, because that's how they pay for their subs. And this isn't necessarily going to affect them, because the people that do that are still going to do that, because that option hasn't changed. As far as I know, I could be wrong. The other side of it is well, they're trying to get everybody over to subs because it's more difficult to get off of a sub, because you actually have to take the extra steps to go in and cancel the sub, and people might forget, and then they get charged, and it's a way for them to get extra money, because basically they're banking on people's stupidity or laziness or how difficult something might be. And I don't think it's that, although what I will say is, if the players haven't asked for this change, it is a curious change to have made, because if there are a large number of people who do use the 30-day time, let's say, and so they get that 30-day chunk, it's like disposable, where you put in that card, you get your 30 days, as soon as that's up, you're free and gone and clear. Let's say in that 30 days, you've done everything that you want to do, and off you go, right? That option now is off the table. There are people that can only afford, at times, that $15 a month. People that are living hand to mouth, man. I mean, that's very real. And taking that option away, I can see how that is not preferable. How that is a challenge. There are people who don't want to give their credit card to Blizzard, and there are people that I've spoken to in my own group, or I've seen the conversation where it's, I don't want to give them my credit card, so I go through other means or do other things because I'm afraid there'll be a data leak, or there could be some other problem, or I don't want them knowing that much about me, or whatever. There's that angle on it too. So there's a couple of ways you can look at it where it is not preferable. And you look at the forums and Twitter, man, people were pretty mad. I didn't really see a lot of support for this change. So I do wonder if this is going to be reverted somehow, or if they're going to do something different, or open that 30-day maybe back up, because that is just sort of that first initial chunk. But it is a curious change, and yeah, people are mad.
This sounds to me like something similar Xbox did with their subscription, because they forced everybody, because I was one of the, like, I had an Xbox Live Gold membership, and I would only pay like $60 a year for it. So, and what that would give me is it would let me connect online and play live games, and you could download games with gold each month. But then they put out their new sub, and they did away with the 60 I'm sorry, the 12-month subscription plan for $60. They got rid of it, and they reverted that because a lot of people were upset with that. There were people like me that just wanted to keep that gold. This is kind of like similar. I think they've put something out. They'll probably, like you said, they'll probably end up reverting it, or do some other model that will still allow them to do the 30-day game time subscription, because there are people who don't want to put a credit card on file. And there are people who don't want to, they don't want to commit to having to remember to log in and play WoW, and they don't really feel like playing WoW or something like that, and then honestly, forget to cancel their subscription. And
maybe there's people who don't have a credit card.
Yep, that's a thing too.
Not everybody does.
Not everybody does.
And this is not a game that requires you to be 18, right? So let's say you're 16 and you want to manage your own sub. You can use a bank, like a debit card, right? Like, but not everybody uses.
You don't want to do that.
Not everybody uses traditional banking, and I'm gonna. This is not controversial, I don't think, but in the cannabis space, because we got legal weed out here in California. There's no legal banking related to the cannabis industry, which is a multi-million dollar industry. And everything is cash, bro.
Yeah.
So, even there are even big business, let's say, that don't handle credit cards. The reason why is because it's against the law, or at least the feds won't back it. But it's not ideal. So, anyway.
I also don't recommend using a debit card for anything like that in general. For any subs. For anything in general, I just don't. I tinfoil hat on it. If your debit card gets, if those numbers get out, that's cleaning out your checking and savings account. If you've got overdraft protection, stuff like credit cards, all whatever. If it gets stolen, you can,
Hopefully you got somebody who's got fraud protection that's checking your shit.
Yeah,
out.
you got to get that fraud protection. So
yeah, like that one time my card got copied somehow somewhere, and somebody ran up like $900 at a Valero gas station in the East Bay.
Gas station, yeah.
And I'm like, well, I hope they enjoyed those, 10 free tanks of gas and all the booze that they bought from behind the liquor counter there, because I don't know what else you did. So anyway, definitely a big rage topic amongst the community right now, and we'll have to keep track and see how that shakes out. But we're gonna kick over to our news section, and in it we are gonna start with some listener topics. So let's go. So in between last episode and this episode, as we kind of want to do, I put out a call on our Discord, on our show Discord. So if you haven't joined that yet, please check our shit out. And there's a little link there, I think, on Twitter, and I think there's one on our bio page on the Warcraft radio directory. But hit that, join us up. It's not, we're not talking nonstop every day, all night, but you'll damn sure get a hold of us pretty quick, and we do have some conversations in there routinely on stuff related to the game. So put out a call there, asking folks if there's anything that they wanted us to cover on this next episode, and we've got a couple that we're gonna cover here. And the first one, and Nav, I apologize, I might have changed this one up in the notes a little bit, so we're gonna flip this one around a little bit, but
sure.
I think one of the overarching questions right now, and this is true not just for us, but pretty much for everybody in the game, is how we're feeling about Shadowlands now that we have settled into it, right? Now that it's been some time, and the passage of time during the pandemic, I think, feels differently for everybody now than it might have before. So I think it may feel like it's dragging on even more than perhaps it actually is. But for you, overall, how are you feeling about Shadowlands now at this point?
I'm enjoying it. I think I'm enjoying everything but the maw, to be quite honest with you, because I'm not really enjoying twisting corridors. Like, I don't feel like I'm getting anything out of doing twisting corridors. I know you get a mount at the end of it. I know that if you run 8 layers of it, you'll get your mount, and then you can have your mount to run around the maw, and that's a thing. And I know some people enjoy that, some people like that. I'm not one of those people. I'm not actively going to the maw to do my daily quests. I'm not doing any of that stuff. So if I'm missing out on, big things from the maw, besides I know you can get a socket to put stuff on your gear, things like that. I'm not actively farming any of that.
So your rep with that broker is not like super high now. Right.
I'm not like Venari. Like I run by her like a store greeter. She's like, "Hey, welcome to the." I'm like, "See ya." It's like,
get out of my face.
I'm doing the old no mask dodge. Get out of my way. So there's that. Besides the maw, I am enjoying the game. It's not like I'm not enjoying the game. There are zones that I hate. I do not like Revendreth. I cannot stand. I can't stand that zone. I don't like the genre there. I will go out there and I will power through my dailies if I have it, and if I know that So my thing is this with Revendreth, when it comes up, if it's one of my daily quests, I'll just sit on it and I'll wait to see what tomorrow's is, because what I've noticed is the quests that you get later on in the week, and it's not always this way, but usually they line up so that it kind of makes it easier towards the end of the week. So it's like, hey, you need to take your little minion, you need to babysit your minion for a little bit, take them with you and go do the quests in the zone. And sometimes it happens to stack on top of the previous day's quest. So I try to do that. Other than that, I am enjoy the raid is like Nathri is one of the best raids. Like I really do enjoy that raid. It's got a good mix of single target and multi-target fights. I don't like that the warrior weapon is so far into the instance.
Yeah.
I don't like that it's all the way in. So it's, we're trying our best here to stay up on the meters, but there's that. Mythic rating is challenging. We're having a lot of fun on that. I still think that kind of sucks that it's limited to 20. That's a different story for a different time. But besides them all, besides Revendreth and all of that, I mean, I'm still having fun playing the game. I'm not actively going out to Twitter and be like, wow, this is the best you got, Blizzard. Thanks for giving us a pile of shit to play for the next year.
Who does that?
It's like,
Who does that?
like, so I'm still enjoying it. And hey, we're getting some buffs coming up for tanks. We're getting some buffs coming up next week, I think. So there's that. All in all, though, to answer the question, I'm still enjoying the game. I'm still having a lot of fun with the game, and I'm interested to see what's on the horizon for the next patches that are rolling out.
Yeah, I'm struggling. I'm not gonna lie. I'm struggling. I think I feel like a lot of people, where right now it's getting a little long in the tooth. And part of it is that I have not been able to spend the time that I need to spend to stay up on certain things because I'm falling behind. I was catching up, I caught up, and now I'm falling behind again. It kind of comes in these ebbs and flows. So there's some things like where you have to have so much anima to do a thing, and I'm like, fuck it, man, I'm never gonna have enough time to farm enough anima to do XYZ thing to get whatever transmog, to get certain rewards. And so in a way that kind of disincentivizes me from prioritizing the time to jump in, right? Where let's say I've got 45 minutes. I mean, well, a blessed 45 minutes of free time in my day. God, just thinking about it, I'm getting half chubbed. Having that time, right? Am I going to spend that time farming anima? It just, that doesn't sound good. I've always been averse to dungeons, and I know that's a problem because I know they don't take as long as I think they do. And I probably could jump in, do a dungeon real quick and get some gear or some kind of a thing. But I sort of have a mental block there. So for me, as somebody who really drives my gameplay based on story, like I want quests that advance this. Like when we were doing the Torghast stuff and like saving Bane and saving Thrall and saving Jaina and figuring out what's going on. When you have that every week, you bet your ass I'm coming in. And I'm like, I want to see what's going on because I got to play this quest. And I want to know, partially because Wowhead will fucking spoil it for me the moment it happens. But I want to be out there doing that thing. Once that stopped, my prioritization kind of changes. And so that's where I'm at. I'm trying to find the time when I can. But to be honest, I'm not trying as hard as maybe I would if there was more current stuff happening. So it's a great expansion. Don't get me wrong. The fault is mine. It's not on really what's there. There's a lot there, and I think there's a lot there that's very good. I'm glad to see after this latest round of changes that the Kyrian adventure table is a lot more fun than it was before. I've gotten a bunch of pets out of it recently, and there's more of a fun variety of missions going on there. So that has been a great change. Super happy to have seen that. I feel like when I'm in raid, I'm doing about what I should be doing. I still need better weapons. but I have gotten some upgrades, and I'm still dragging the meters most of the time. But that's my fault, right? Everybody else is higher geared than I am. People are running Mythic Plus, doing some other stuff. But I am eager for that next chapter. And so on that note, I want to thank listener Jer for that question and this next one, which is that what are our thoughts on it starting to appear that we'll have longer patch cycles again, possibly longer than BFA. Now, Bellular, who was somebody who I assume anybody who listens to this show, this tiny ass podcast, knows who Bellular is. It's a guy that makes like fucking 15 videos a day about Warcraft. I don't know how he has this much to talk about, but he does somehow. And so he put out a video about this, and he actually shows the timeline and blah, blah, blah. So if you want to watch that video, and he talks all about it, I think that came out like the last day, feel free to go ahead and do that. However, I have, now I'm going to show you can see on video here, I've got my notes. I did take a look at the patch release dates for the last couple of expansions. Because sometimes I think we feel like, oh man, it's been so long. I can't believe it's been so long since we've had content. And then you're like, oh, it's kind of like what it's always been. It just feels bad, right?
Yeah.
So I think part of it is that when you go back to Legion actually had a really good release schedule where Legion was originally released August 30th of 2016. The patch 7.1, The Return of Karazhan, was released in October. The end of October, so you only had like 2 months, right? That's unheard of, really. And then following that, you had patch 7.1 mid-January. It's another 3 months. You had patch 7.2 in end of March, so only like 2.5 months later. And then you had Tomb. Yeah, that was Tomb, and then 7.2 was 3 months later, and 7.3 was 4 months after that. So you had like pretty regular stuff. 2, 3, 4 months was the, people were bitching, oh, Argus is taking so long, like 4 months, whoa. That was great. That was a great schedule. And again, lending to Legion, really, I think a lot of people think it's the best expansion ever. It can't ever beat Wrath of My Mind, and that's for me, but it's pretty damn high. Then we get to BFA. And in BFA, it does slow down. You've got 4 months between release and patch 8.1, about 4 months between patch 8.1 and 8.1.5, another 3 months to 8.2, Rise of Ashara, and then really jumping ahead, 7 months to patch 8.3, and that was in January. And then from there, that was January of 20. It was 10 months until the release of Shadowlands. That's a fucking drought. That's 10 months. And there's, little stuff that goes on in between, but major patch to major release, that's a long ass time, right? And we knew it then, and we know it now. With Shadowlands, 4 months to get to patch 9.0.5, which we just had at the beginning of this month. So, I mean, we're probably looking at July.
Yeah.
July for 9.1. That's gonna feel like a fucking eternity. Is it in line with what we had in BFA? I mean, no, because even then it only took 4 months to get to the first major content patch, and we're probably looking at 7 months. Let's say it's June. That's 7 months. To answer the question, I do think we'll have longer time between patches. I think a lot of that has to do with the pandemic. I think that business processes had to change and shit slowed down.
Sure.
There's no way to get around that. I think it's going to be a problem for sub rates. I do think it's going to be a problem for, when we get those financial results. I think you're going to see bigger dips. That wave is going to crest and it's going to crash because no one's still playing a game except for us Lukey Loos after 7 months and nothing new. So I think it's going to be tough. I think we're going to find things to do in game that we traditionally haven't done, like playing the auction house or pet battles or PvP maybe for some of us, or we might start exploring things in the game that we traditionally wouldn't for those of us that continue to play. For other people, maybe people that, only do the 30-day at a time sub, those people are going to disappear for a while. And
Yeah.
I think financially it's going to hurt the game, but I don't think there's anything we can do about it. And, at a certain point, you just have to accept, it's going to be a while, and let's find what we want to do that's fun. If there isn't anything right now that's fun, then we'll go do something else. And that's, I think, kind of where it's at. But what about you, Nat? What do you think?
No, it's definitely, we're going to have these longer patch cycles. And for I guess for my team, my group, my rating group, that's going to work out really well because we are making progress in Mythic rating. So it'll be nice to be able to have content to work on and work towards till July. Mm-hmm. I am in that same boat that you said, people, trying PvP out, doing a little bit of just a tip, see how it feels, and, playing the auction house, like you said. I mean, it's going to be, it's just going to be longer. We're going to have longer patch cycles. It is what it is. And WoW will be the Motel 6. Hey, we'll leave the light on for you. If you're here, great. If not, that's what it's going to be. So,
yeah. Yeah, that's a great way to put it. And, I think what might help, let's say in the future, is when we have patch 10.0, whatever that next expansion is, a year plus from now. I think you're going to see shorter cycle times in that expansion. People are going to be like, hey, they figured it out. And it must be those 10,000 people they have working on the team now. But it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for all of us. And, we had that drought in Warlords that everybody remembers. And we had a drought prior to Shadowlands. It happens. It happens. It's part of the game. At the end of the day, I just want to make sure that whatever they give us is ready. That is the Blizzard promise, right? Every time. And I think those of us longtime players, that's the promise that we buy into is you'll give it to us when it's time to give it to us. And if it's taking longer to get it to us when in a ready state, then so be it. We'll be here because I can't fucking listen to another person talk about Cyberpunk and how it wasn't ready when it came out while I'm playing it and enjoying it. And that's a whole other fucking story. But
you think that's what happened to Bane during development? Like, they're just like, we got to animate Bane and give him purpose. Fuck, if there's not enough time, just leave him as being down the whole time.
Listen, we had a grave marker in our garrison that was raid tier, right? I mean, you never know what they're going to leave behind. So, yeah, I mean, you might have to go, deep cuts, back catalog. It's going to be, I'm going to find some stuff I've never done before kind of time. So, we'll see. And a couple other items that got brought up, and I know you've got thoughts about, is War Doctor in our Discord brought up Valor points and the Pro Warrior buff as a couple of items. And Valor points, for those that have been around, Valor points are another one of the million currencies that we've had around in the game forever. And you can use them to buy gear, essentially, because, sometimes if you're a raider, it takes a while to get the gear that you need. And, maybe instead of getting the drop that you've been looking for 4 months, you can, passively get these points or tokens or whatever, and then eventually be able to buy something. So this is essentially what a Valor point has been for us all these years. But it's been gone. Now they've brought it back. For me, it seems like one of the most convoluted ways they could have done it. With all due respect, it essentially is it's a currency that you can get up to a certain point. You use it, if I understand this correctly, to upgrade your gear. But in order to do that, you have to also meet certain other achievement requirements and some other things. And this process seems like it's the result of a think tank of a bunch of people who thought they were the smartest people in the whole wide world. And Blizzard was like, yeah, you people must know what you're talking about. And then threw this out there because
Yeah.
It must make sense to them, but I've read this now a couple of times, and I'm like, I think I get it, but I'm not quite sure. So Nav, thoughts on this, and then also this Pro Warrior buff.
Sure. I was actually really excited for when they announced the upgrade to Dungeon Gear. I was initially very excited for this. And then I was like really confused by it because I didn't understand. I'm like, I thought initially you could just go in there at any level and you can get a piece of gear. Mm-hmm. And then you can take that gear and you could upgrade it all the way to 220. That's great if you're missing items from 220 and you're still raiding. It's also great if you're just doing dungeons and you're still missing a gear. Mm-hmm. But in order to upgrade something over the 213 item level limit, you've got to land yourself the achievement of Shadowlands Keystone Master, which is you got to complete a mythic level 15 and time it. Like you have to time all the dungeons at a mythic level 15. So if you're not even there, if you're able to time all of the mythic level 10s or higher within the same time limit, then you can go from 207 and higher. So it's like
okay.
Look, I'm happy that they rolled something out.
Yeah.
But then they gate it behind the achievement thing. It's like, okay, so guys, we're going to give you this, but you know what? You've still got to jump through some hoops in order to earn this piece. It's like, just let us have the Valor points and let's go just buy the shit like we did in BFA. Like the shit that was on the vendor, and we would just go buy the shit that we wanted, and the shit would be better than what we had.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
You just keep going, and it's like, don't thwart my plan to brute force the fucking Keystone Master towards the end of the game where I just overpower everything. And now I've got to actually put some effort out there. So, I mean, but all in all, though, the other thing that I don't like about this model is, well, all right. So I'm going to give you some. I'm not going to sit here and piss all over it because there's something that I do like, and there's things that I do like and things that I don't like.
Okay.
Things that I do like is it's going to promote community towards the other members of the community running smaller keys, because I can jump into a 2 and completely carry that group through and just destroy everything and get the same amount of valor I would if I was running a higher level key.
There you go.
So I could just run through. If I want a gear, I'll just queue up for 2s. So that right there can promote some, hey, I'm bored, I don't know what to do. Let me just jump in because I want to gear this thing out. Mm-hmm. The one thing that on the flip side, I kind of feel like I want to play my alts. Well, I want to gear my alts out. Let me just make this item account bound, or make the Valor points account bound, and let me transfer them across. Just let me do something that I can farm on my main to feed my alts so that I don't have to put in as much time, because to me, time is valuable. I'm not looking I'm still putting the effort in, and I've already put the effort in on my main tune. I don't feel like having to do the chores over again on an alt. So it would be nice to be able to take those items, make them bind on account, and let me transfer them over to an alt so that I can gear out an alt that way. But yeah, it's Wowhead has a good write up on it. There are a couple of YouTube videos out there on it. I mean, it for people still getting gear, it's a change, so to say. It's a good change, I guess, because I am still missing a trinket. I need a trinket. I don't have another offhander, which kind of prevented me from doing Fury, which kind of put me into the arm.
Hey, I'm doing it with 2 shitty weapons. You can too.
And yeah, so I mean, that's about all I have to say about that. So it's like.
How about this Pro Warrior buff? What's the story on that?
Oh, this is welcome change. Yeah. So, Prot Warrior has been lacking, and it's basically damage, and it's not, if you've tanked on a Prot Warrior, it's very lackluster at the moment. Like, I don't really feel like I'm getting anything out of tanking on a Prot Warrior at this point in time, but they made a change, and they've increased the damage 10% across the board. They've increased thunderclap damage by an additional 10%. this is all about threat generation. It's not about actually doing damage. It's about threat generation. And with this, it's going to help out tremendously. On top of that, a couple things that's coming. Well, one thing that already happened. The Conqueror's banner for the Necrolord, for any Necrolords out there, has been redesigned. It now grants 400 mastery and 30% increased movement speed to you and 2 of your nearest allies, preventing movement speed from being reduced below 100%. And that's cool if you're a Necrolord. I'm not. I'm got Pelagos, and I like my Kyrian thing. It seems like all of my characters are going to be Kyrian. I don't know how that happened. It just I'm good with the Kyrians. But what's coming next week is a flat buff across the board to all tanks. Like, so there was a bug discovered with Vengeance Demon Hunters because they were receiving 15% less magic damage than what was expected, which put them at a higher tier level for doing Mythic Plus and raids. So they found the bug that was causing it, and it was overperforming in raid and dungeon content. So instead of Blizz rolling it back, they have fixed it. They changed it so that they're going to take the same amount of damage, but what they are going to do is also reduce tank damage by 10% across the board for all tanks, which is a very huge buff for any of the tanks, because now it's putting everybody kind of close to a same playing field. So I'm actually looking forward to this because I used to like tanking. I loved tanking when we had Vengeance, and they changed that all up, and I started not liking tanking. And then when we got to Shadowlands, I was going through dungeons tanking stuff, and I'm like, God, I feel really rage starved. Like, so now it's the choice is I could either do some damage in a group, or I can do all of my defensive abilities. I can't. It seems like I wasn't able to weave in both. Now it seems like we're going to be able to weave in both without the tank damage getting way out of control. Because I mean, if you've ever tanked with a druid in the group, you'll see that tank damage on a druid is insane. It is they do so much damage. But talking about Prot Warrior, a lot of good changes coming, especially this week. So, if you're a Prot Warrior and you've been not wanting to do it, now's a good time, because Vanguard's going to reduce all damage by 10%. So on top of the buffs that we got initially with the change that they found with the Demon Hunter, they're also giving us a flat 10% reduction in damage across the board. So yay for Prot Warrior. So
that's big.
There's that.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, appreciate those questions from War Doctor and from Jer. And like we said, listen, hit us up in the Discord. We love hearing from you folks. And seriously, you want to hear us talk about something on this show, we're pretty open to suggestions. I know if it's one thing that always pissed me off was if I listen to something and be like, hey, I'm trying to talk with folks or interact with folks, and you just get the fucking brush off. I hate that shit. I've always said about this show and all the years we've done it that if you reach out to us or if you say something to us, we will interact, we will comment, we will do something. So like to think we continue to do that. So please hit us up on there if there's anything else you'd like us to talk about. A couple more things before we head out the door. Nav, are you in the Burning Crusade beta?
I didn't get in the beta.
I didn't either.
So
So
I'm not playing Classic, but I loved Burning Crusade. I didn't get it in the beta. I'm not heartbroken over it either.
No,
so,
I don't think so.
I have a lot of fond memories of Burning Crusade, so I can't. I'm not, again, for the Classic crowd, that's awesome. I'm glad you guys are getting it. I'm glad you guys are getting back into the old stuff like that.
Yeah.
Lady Vash and all the fun times I had in that game during that time. But I'm not in that one.
Yeah, we'll keep you posted, but that is open. The Burning Crusade beta is currently open. Folks are getting in. Looks like they're doing, their usual rounds of invites, and you got to opt in. So make sure you opt in. You got to go to the website, click on the thing, opt in for your account. Make sure that you're set up for that. And then testing is open. There's a couple things that they've mentioned that they're not going to have open at this time. PvP is not open. Add-ons can't be used, that kind of stuff. But it's, beta is always an interesting time because you get to see a lot of like broken shit that you don't normally get to see.
Yep.
And I think that's actually kind of fun to see how some of the, stuff behind the curtain happens. So yeah, hope folks are getting in and checking that out. There's a little bit of speculation as to what kind of Burning Crusade Classic Deluxe Edition there might be and potential rewards. Somebody thinks that they have found evidence of a Warp Stalker mount, a Dark Portal toy, and a Path of Illidan toy. So I guess if you purchase it, or it's an, I don't know. Thought it was just part of our sub to have the classic stuff, so I guess pay an extra $10 and get some shit. So anyway, it's open, and good luck to everybody, and I hope you're having fun while you're out there. On the Activision Blizzard side, we have seen some evidence that there are layoffs coming. Layoffs?
Yeah.
Layoffs? Talk about layoffs. Oh, yeah. Everybody remembers what I'm talking about. Football reference from a million years ago. Blizzard's doing well. Activision Blizzard is doing well, as we've talked about. And one of the things we also talked about was we hope that would not then mean that they're going to turn around and do layoffs. Well, God damn it, that's exactly what they did. And it's more narrowly tailored this time than it was last time, where you had huge swaths of people getting let go. This time they're looking at about 50 employees in the esports division, and they're attributing it to Overwatch and Call of Duty. I think that they were looking more at live events for those franchises that just haven't happened in the pandemic, and you don't need as many people when there's not as much going on. They mentioned, it was mentioned here, they're getting 3 months severance package, which it's not a lot, but it's better than nothing, I suppose. Health benefits for the next 12 months, which I actually think that's the most valuable, because that's the one that always fucked me up. And a $200 gift card for the Battle.net shop. That to me just seems like kind of like a slap in the face. If you let me go, and then you're like, but please still frequent our establishment, I'd be like, fuck, I would turn that shit over and just flip it and rip it and burn it.
Yeah.
That seems a little insensitive, perhaps, but maybe I'm wrong. So, esports is taking a bit of a hit, with the pandemic going on. I think we're going to see fallout from this for a while. Things are changing, and people are going to be trying to get accustomed to the new norm, and this seems to be one of them. And unfortunately, as well as Blizzard is doing, they're still looking to justify every penny that's being spent. And if they're not getting their dollars worth, people are going to get cut. So that sucks. Hopefully that is the end of it, because they are continuing to do well. Good old Bobby Kotick got a shit ton of cash for a bonus, like $20 million or something. So not a good look. Not a good look.
No, it's not. It's not.
But we'll see. So that's the latest on that front. My dear Chris Metzen is back in the gaming space. We talked about the War Chief gaming thing, tabletop something that he's doing, and here's where it is. They have partnered with Dungeons and Dragons, like the Dungeons and Dragons, and they have a Kickstarter going on for his little group, and this one is called Aro. I think it's pronounced Ouroboros, but it looks like Ouroboros. And it's basically his homebrew campaign that Metzen's been running with his buddies since like the 80s or some shit. And they've turned this into a full-fledged guide. And they're running a Kickstarter right now to get it funded. I'm sure it's going to be funded if it hasn't been already, and do really well. I noticed, and maybe I've noticed this before and I've forgotten with my Swiss cheese brain, but longtime Blizzard artist Glenn Rain, who has done some of the best art ever, in my opinion, in Warcraft. The guy who, for instance, his art style, that loading screen when you go to Northrend and it's Bolvar with the helm and he's all fiery looking, right? He's the one that created that one and like a whole other iconic Blizzard images. he's been gone from Blizzard since May. So he's been gone for almost a year. I'm not sure what happened there. He'd been there for like 20 years. He did some of the art for this Ouroboros deal. So I don't know if he's just freelance or whatever's going on now. I don't know that I'm necessarily going to be doing anything with this because I don't run any D&D campaigns. But Nav, I think you and I both have a soft spot for the original, the OG D&D. You know, whether it's this Lawbringer thing that Ouroboros is doing here, and you know that kind of deal. But you played the old school version, right? I mean, you had some late nights rolling some characters, right?
Oh yeah, my house actually turned out to. My house was the go-to house for everything when I was a teenager. Like all my friends would come over to my house because my parents were cool. So, you know, we had a back. if it was a Friday night, it would be myself and 4 or 5 of my other friends. You know, they'd bring their sleeping bags over. We'd go out on the back patio. Mom would order pizza for us, and we'd be out there from like 7 o'clock at night till like, 1 o'clock in the morning, just rolling dice and playing Dungeons and Dragons. And, it was fun. It was fun because, sword and sorcery, it was very, I was really big in the sci-fi genre back then. So it was,
Yeah. If you've never had the chance to do it, I really recommend it because it's the building block, plural, building blocks of what we do in Warcraft. The classes and how we build things, abilities, how you balance out your party. Like, there's so much stuff. And when you get to see it in that venue, you're like, oh shit, I know what this is. This is familiar. I know exactly what to do here. Yeah, and I, having run in a couple of groups, it's a great time. It's a lot of fun, and I wish them luck. So last thing before we go, Doctors Without Borders is getting a bump from the Warcraft community these days, where we have a new charity pet or pets for Warcraft, and rather than just make them purchasable, they're being given out when certain benchmarks for donations are being hit for this campaign. And the first mark was at $500,000, and they made it, so everybody has gotten bananas. Or you can get bananas. Well, it says Bananas the monkey. But Nav, I'm pretty sure we need to call our anthropology friends, because pretty sure if you're the son of a gorilla, you're still a gorilla.
Yeah, you're a gorilla. Yep, absolutely. Yep. He has no tail either. There's no tail.
Somebody needs to workshop that shit. So, so bananas is available, and all you have to do is go to this store. And it's free, so you just claim it.
Yep.
And that's how it gets into your account. The next goal is at $1 million, and that's for Daisy the Sloth, which, listen, I saw some people getting real excited about this. I'll be honest, this isn't the one that gets it for me, but raising $1 million for Doctors Without Borders is a pretty noble cause. So,
of course,
you know, from more of the egalitarian purposes of doing something for the sake of, others, purely for doing it, that would be a worthy cause. So consider donating and helping them with that campaign, and you'll get some pets in the process, and everybody wins. So, all right. Well, I think that'll do it for this episode, other than this fine program. Where on the internet can the good people find you, Navox?
You can find me out there on Twitter. I'm at NAV_OX.
As for me, you can always find me on Twitter at Berzerker Rage, and this show at Unshackled_Fury. Feel free to contact the show with your questions, comments, or otherwise by going to unshackledfury.com. And you can find this show wherever you get your podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Stitcher, Spotify, and Pandora. So once again, thank you for listening. Remember to keep your swords wet and your banners high, and we'll see you next time. Farewell.